Hey y'all, it's Alicia. Welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop, and it is still Thursday, folks. It is still Thursday, and I still have my laundry here. Have not folded and put it away. Oh no, your girl is so far behind. So far behind. Um, Thank you all for all of your well wishes for the doctor today. I was so touched, actually. I didn't sleep well last night. I didn't, and you all know that because I was up working on those little hard things. And my husband, I think, is starting to understand that one of the reasons why crafting is such a gift to me and art making of all kind is such a gift to me is that I don't suffer with anxiety. I'm very blessed that way. I have a lot of friends who live with anxiety disorder, and I know how difficult it is to manage. I know how upsetting it is. I know how frustrating it is. I have family members that live with it. I get it. I really get it. And I'm blessed to have a different kind of constitution or chemical makeup that I just didn't get that gene. I got the scleroderma gene. That wasn't great. But anxiety is not something that I normally have to deal with, even in times of crisis. We all have it in times of extreme crisis, but it's just not something in my daily life. But I gotta tell y'all, this past week with these health things have caused a little bit of anxiety to creep up. And mostly that's just because I thought I was in a different place. And with any illness, it's scary when they start looking at you sideways. It is a little scary. And I think that I realized yesterday that I was needing to craft rather than clean. This house is an epic mess, and we are leaving Saturday. So I got to get everything packed up. I got to get everything shipped out. That includes everyone's stuff that I have to send out, plus my own. And there is stuff on every inch of this house. How this husband is not killing me, I don't know. But he's being very supportive, and I appreciate it. But I think that's also because he accompanied me to the doctor today. And this is a long around way of discussing the fact that, so last night I was up making, and I think my husband finally understood the gift that is crafting. Because I just was worrying about today and worrying. And I know you shouldn't worry about things you can't change the outcome of. There's no point. It's wasted energy. And it's energy I don't have. And I didn't have any spoons left. You all saw how tired I looked yesterday. I had 0 spoons left. So I should not have been wasting 0 spoons on worry, especially about something I can't change. But I was fretting because I just started work, and when they start with these sideways looks, it's never a good thing. And I'm like, what is going to happen? The nice thing is, the person I went to see today, who is a top expert in his field, was much more calm, still very concerned, but much more calm and much less alarmist and much more my kind of doctor, and basically said, okay, you and I need to become friends. And I thought that was such a nice way of phrasing it. Isn't that nice? Instead of saying, oh, even if he had said, let's become partners, I would have been okay with it. But instead he said, I guess you and I have to become friends. And I felt like that was such a nice way of saying, unfortunately, you're going to need to see me a lot. Unfortunately, you have this problem that's developed. But you know what? It's okay, because we're going to develop a friendship, and we're going to do this together. And I don't know why that made such a difference about diffusing some of that anxiety, but it just did. So power to this particular specialist who is a top in his field. And normally, I got to be honest, he's also a surgeon, because what I had to see him for is something epically serious. And it may require surgery at some point, which for scleroderma is very dangerous. And the part of the body, I have no problem sharing it with you. You know, I should just tell you what it is. I have a brain aneurysm. And for those of you, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a pouching in the vessels in your brain. And when they grow, they can rupture, and that will be fatal within 2 hours. And my grandmother passed away from it. Sorry, Mom. I know you watch my videos every day, and you're probably like, don't talk about it. But I'm come from a different place than my mom. My mom is of the generation where you don't discuss these things. I'm of the generation where, why? Is there any shame involved? There shouldn't be. I have a crazy illness. I have an aneurysm in my brain. It's too bad. It's the way it is. And it's grown. And that's why I had to see a surgeon today. And so rather than hiding these things, I think it's important to be honest about them. And maybe by me being honest about it, somebody else on here will get help when they need help. Or they'll get support when they need support, or maybe they'll just go to the doctor faster. I don't know. I feel like keeping these things secret is like a cancer. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you and I come from we're really different generationally. It's terrifying for my mother. It's terrifying for my husband. It's terrifying for my best friend. And clearly last night it was terrifying for me. And do you know what got me through all that? Making those heart banners. I'm not kidding. And my husband knew it. So for once, he didn't care that the place had a whole bunch of mess everywhere. And he didn't care that that was my way of coping. And then today went okay. And that was really relieving. And I have a great specialist and surgeon who wants to be a friend instead of a doctor. And boy, isn't that reassuring when it's something that's scary, right? So as hard as today was, I was very blessed. It could have gone a very different way, folks. And he didn't say quit your job, which is what they usually say to me. I should tell you all that. They've been trying to get me to quit my job for 5 years. They made me take medical leave in the past. I will not quit working. 99% of people who live with scleroderma, especially advanced scleroderma like I have, don't work. And it's not because they don't want to work. Trust me. Trust me. Nobody wants to be home housebound. Nobody. It's really hard to live with. I don't know. I'm blessed. I'm blessed with a certain constitution, y'all. I tell my mom that all the time. I got lucky in life. You know, I may have this illness, but I got lucky. And I mean that sincerely. Because I have this kind of fortitude, internal fortitude, that I think is really, it's unusual. My doctors tell me it's unusual. Everyone tells me it's unusual. So I just get up and go. That's who I am. And I told you, it's not like I do and I'm never present. If I spent my whole life doing, not stopping, pausing, and reflecting, then that wouldn't be much of a life. That would just be busy work. Now, growing up, my mom's generation, again, believed, cleanliness was close to godliness and that if you just kept busy, you kept out of trouble. But my generation believes self-reflection is key. We're not like the millennials. Sorry, millennials. And I know there are many of you on this channel who are going to groan. And I know you are. You're going to groan. But a lot of millennials, there's certain types of millennials. In marketing, we say that there's 2 streams. And one of them are very me-focused. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's about putting yourself first to make sure you're living the best life you can. I don't mean that in any way of judgment or criticism. I know it sounds terrible, but it's actually a good thing. I think my mom's generation cleaned and avoided. I'm somewhere in the middle. I believe that talking about these things empowers people and can help people and can shed new information and light, which is only good for everyone. And there's no shame in being sick. There's no shame in it. I don't know where this shame came from. When I was a kid, do you know that when people had cancer in my neighborhood, other people would avoid them because they thought cancer was contagious? I'm not kidding. I'm a kid of the 70s. I'm not kidding you. Okay? So when someone had cancer, people didn't want to eat at their house. That's how ignorant people were. And when HIV became a thing, you don't even want to know what people were saying. You just don't want to know. So there has always been like this weird stigma attached to illness. Whether it's mental illness, physical illness, it's no difference, by the way. What's the difference between scleroderma and depression? None. It's the same thing. It's an illness that we have to live with, right? So I'm so frustrated by this idea that shame is supposed to be attached to being sick. What, we all chose it to be this way? I don't think so. I certainly didn't choose scleroderma. No, all my friends living with depression sure didn't choose that. And sometimes I think very simple people will say, well, just wake up and choose not to be affected by it. Okay, I'm a positive person. You all already know that. That's just my natural constitution. I'm blessed. Again, I'm blessed. But it's not like you can wake up and wish away what you're living with. That is like an idea that people who aren't living with stuff invent because they don't want to have to deal with you, I think. The reality is, yes, we do get to choose every day how we live our life. And Pat and I have talked about this so many times. Hey, Pat, I miss our chats too. I've had no spoons, girly, just no spoons. But look, Pat and I choose every day. We have to make a decision every day. How do we live our best life today? Sometimes, Pat, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Pat. Sometimes Pat will text me and she's out and about and I want to be like, what are you doing? Except I know exactly what she's doing. Pat's living her best life. And she'll say, okay, I've used 3 of my 5 spoons and I need the last one to get home. So I can go to one more place and then I have to sit down and then I can go home and then I have nothing left. I probably won't even be online. But Pat chooses every day to use the spoon she has the best she can. Now, that we have control over, right? That we have control over. But Pat can't wish away MS. And I can't be happy away. I can't happy away scleroderma. And you can't wake up and decide you're not depressed. Life doesn't work like that. How we deal with our illness, however, how we choose to deal with it is important. I don't know how I got on this long chat, all because you all were so kind and I came back from this appointment and there were all of your comments. And instead of doing my 15-minute cleanup, I read them all. And I was really moved. And I guess I had to come on and talk about this. But, you know, here's the funny thing about all this, right? We can choose every day to fight. Like Pat calls herself the lady warrior because she's a fighter. Me too. That's my natural instinct. My natural instinct is to fight. And I don't mean like, you know, some people have fight and flight responses. I'm going to do battle before I'm going to run. That's just my nature. It's Pat's too. And I don't know why we're both blessed that way, but we are. Maybe that's why we got these crazy autoimmune diseases, because we're like going to do our best to tough it out. But the reality is this: fighting the illness every day in that way isn't always the best option. Sometimes embracing it is the best option. That's something I'm coming to understand. Sometimes saying, okay, this illness is a part of me. It doesn't define me, but it is part of me. So if I need to go nap for an hour today and not clean up, that's going to have to be okay. This is new for me. You know, I have never not done anything in my life. I think you guys already have figured this out, right? Like, I'm the girl who studied hard on her own, didn't need help, went to college on a scholarship. I went early admission. I've worked my whole life. I started babysitting at like 11 years old or 10 and a half. Got my first job at a dry cleaners when I was underage. I have worked my entire life hard because I love working. I love studying and I love working. And that's who I am. So I have never not been able to do things in my life. This disease has taught me a lot about compassion and a lot about what it means to be stopped in your tracks, because I want to do everything. And sometimes I have to have a nap. And that's so hard for me to reconcile. But you know, when I was like 20 and I knew of people who were like, okay, I have to go lie down now. I'm like, why? Can't you just fight through it? I fight through everything. But no, sometimes you can't fight through it. And sometimes you have to embrace that and put self-care first. So while this illness is tricky, it's also taught me a lot about compassion. And as a writer, how do I write realistically about people if I don't understand that? It makes me a better writer. And how do I help students, especially students who need accommodations, if I don't get this myself? In many ways, this illness has made me a better person. And I don't say that in a Hallmark cheesy way. I actually mean that. But it's also still tricky to live with. And appointments like today were tough. And then I came back and there was this amazing message from all of you. And I was like, how lucky am I? You know, Sharon Moore said something today that touched my heart. She got this amazing package from Buzzing with V. I think it was from Buzzing with V. And Buzzing with V's family is a crafting family. So they actually sit around a table together and they craft together. And Sharon Moore was like, I'm the only crafter in my family. I would love to have that experience. It's pretty lonely sometimes. She said something like that. You know, Ebony's a very elegant lady. And so she didn't say it exactly like that. That's Alicia Crafty Hoplop's interpretation. I'm paraphrasing. She said it's lonely, or can be, crafting alone can be lonely. But what she really meant, I think, and Ebony, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading too much subtext. But I think what it is it is lonely when you have this crazy passion for a hobby and no one to share it with. But we have each other here. And that's what I wrote. That was my comment to Ebony, which is thank goodness for YouTube, folks. We may not like these new have to click through these children rules that have nothing to do with us. We may not like the fact that they're hiding comments that I have to add an extra step in my day to go look for comments that they're holding. I mean, there's lots of things we don't like about it. But there's no question that YouTube is a blessing because we have each other. I don't come from a crafting family. My mom's been watching, and Mom, I'm really grateful to you because you've been very supportive of my crafting. You've been supportive of my art and my crafting. And I think it's not always easy for you to understand, but you support it. But you're not going to sit down and make art with me for 6 hours. And you're sure not going to make those heart banners with me for a whole evening. And my bestie's been amazing, right? Learning how to make cards. But she's got a real short attention span for it. If it wasn't for Carmen, who I can talk to about crafting for hours, when we get together, we can just, I swear to you, 4 hours goes by and I'm like, what just happened? If I wasn't having to go back to New York this season, I'd be spending at least once a week with Carmen crafting. And that would be joyful. Not just going to Tuesday morning, crafting. Yeah. So I knew exactly what Sharon Moore said. But we have each other here. And that's the amazing gift of YouTube and these channels. It truly is. It's not even the Happy Meal and the We Wishes and the rack. It's not even that, folks. It's each other. It's each other. Thank you all so much for loving those heart banners. Many of you have asked me now or texted me, and guys, I'm so sorry. I haven't looked at text because I'll be honest, I've had a migraine all day from the stress. So I've not looked at my cell phone. So if you've texted me and I've not responded, I apologize. I have not texted my mama even, which is rare. I text her every morning. I did not text her today, and I haven't called her yet. And I haven't checked emails because of the migraine. I will get to it tonight, but I apologize. I know Cruz is probably waiting for my text about Lauren. Thank you again, Cruz. Thank you. But anyway, back to the heart banners. If you follow the tutorial, I know Pat watched it and she texted me right away and she's like, okay, she doesn't really explain anything on what size punch is it. So I showed you all the punch. You guys, it's a 1, I think I wrote to Pat. Was it 1 1/4, Pat? See, I wasn't supposed to check my phone, but Pat left me a message on here and I couldn't help it. And my husband yelled at me. He's like, you have a migraine. Stop looking at the screen. I think it was 1 1/4. Let me just measure it quickly for you right now. I have a little ruler over here that I was using. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do this for you right now. Sorry, I'm not like Craft Perch. I'm not that organized, but like, because I don't always plan what I'm going to say to you guys. And so, in fact, I don't usually plan what I'm going to say to you guys. So, and I'm using this kid's ruler, and it has it right on the mark that where I want to measure it. I have my scoreboard out. I guess I could use that, but I really want to be accurate. Okay, so I think it's 1 1/4. It's 1 1/2. It's a 1.5 inch heart punch, guys. And I got mine at the Hobby Lobby. I think it's years ago, so I think I paid $9.99 minus 40%, but the other day I saw they've gone up to like $14 or $15, I think. I told Pat I'm going to check for her at my Hobby Lobby, so you know what, folks, when I go to Hobby Lobby, which will probably be, I was going to go tonight, I might not do it till tomorrow, just because of the migraine, I will let you all know how much these are. It is a basic, inexpensive punch, but I told you, I have the fancy little Fisker squeeze punch, and it doesn't cut through my 110 cardstock that well. And that almost hurts my hand more because I have to squeeze so hard, and it almost feels like it's going to break that little heart. Now, the bigger ones do work from Fiskars. I'm talking about the minis. It almost feels like it's going to break, and it hurts my hand more. This is actually easier. But here's the thing, Pat, I'm going to warn you about this. And anyone living with fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, scleroderma, lupus, I know some of you have lupus. Okay, folks. This hurts for us. There's a reason why I'm also slow at night. It's because I can't, I'll punch out, I don't even want, I could show you. I'll punch out like 20 of these and then I can't do any more. And my hand hurts for a long time after. The vibrations in this are really hard on our hands. So Pat, I'm a little worried about you using this. It's easy, it's faster than die cutting them all out. But when I'm having really bad hand issues, guys, I do prefer die. I do. Just because you don't want it won't hurt your hands. It's just that simple. When I do my favorite tools, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. Is it flare up or non flare up? Because it actually makes a big difference. No matter what, my favorite tool are things like, you know, this precision point glue gun that Tony recommended and did that test on. This is the AdTech High Tech Project Pro. I got mine for like $7. I don't know. I got a crazy sale around Christmas. I love it, the fine tip on this. I really want the professional glue guns, you know, the ones with all the different tips, but that's just like a crazy want. I don't need it. This gun works beautifully. So it does drip less than the others. It does spider web less than the others. I'm very happy with it. But y'all noticed in the box down below where I list my favorite supplies, I'm using professional grade glue. I'm not even just using regular glue sticks. I'm using special glue sticks, and there's reasons for that. Adhesion. I do have a book to share with you later, inspired by Septeria18. I did modify the layout myself, and I can tell you why I did. I love her book designs, and that's why I took one of hers and modified them. Carmen girl, you're right. She makes, sorry, it's puckered a little because I used a whole bunch of materials that were wet materials, so I'm still making sure everything is okay. But, okay, Septeria18, if you ever watch this video, this is why I altered your book. When you build, because you are in Australia, I believe, you're building just using paper. And I know that's because of postal costs, right? But I want chipboard, and I want thickness, and I want durability. So I modified her design for this basic book. But folks, I'm putting an end screen for her tutorial. I gotta tell you something, when this is dressed up, and I did alter the front. I made a different cover. You know, because her designs are so well done, you can alter everything. And mine is super thicked up. Anyway, I digressed. Forgive me. You want a tutorial on those heart banners, and I did link the tutorial that I was inspired by, but many of you watched it and said, would you mind? So when I get to New York and I set up the halogen light and over-the-shoulder camera, I will do a tutorial. I have to think about how to do it though, folks. I told you those take me all night to make. So you don't want to do a craft with me where you're sitting with me for 4 hours. That you don't want. Because, well, maybe you do, but I'll be exhausted. I don't know. Even though I love to craft with people, I think that having to be aware of the camera for 4 hours will make me exhausted. So I need to think about how to prep each stage so that I can teach you how to make it without the video being 4 hours long. Because look, just chatting with you today was 20, and that's just too long. Supposedly, a good video length for people is either under 6 minutes or somewhere between 18 and 25, and anything over that is a problem. I just read that in a marketing study. Is it true? I don't know. You let me know down below. This has been a long way of me saying thank you for all your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I'm finished decorating this, I will share it with you in detail. I'm putting a special enclosure piece, and I'm testing this corner. I think I'm going to trim the corner because of the fold, and then what I'm going to do is put a special thing that keeps it closed. If I were to redesign this again, the only change I would have made, I couldn't have really built in a ribbon because of the design, but I think I can redesign it now so that I can. But I love this. And I'm going to put her an end screen for her tutorial. Just remember that she uses regular paper because of postal costs. And this for me is built up on, yeah, this is a solid little book. But Septeria18's book tutorials are fantastic. She is fantastic at building teeny, medium, and large books. All right, y'all. I have a lot of cleaning to do, a lot of adulting, a lot of work. I just want to say thank you for everything. Sorry about the long chat, but I had a lot to share and to say thank you for. I'm truly blessed for each of you. I really am. I couldn't be more grateful to each of you every day. I know I still have a bunch of things to look after for this channel. I don't want you to think I've forgotten. I have not. I told you this is a rough week, and I assure you that they are all on my list. Everything from drawing the birthday challenge. I've not forgotten one thing. It's just I have to manage my spoons, and right now I'm a little low on spoons. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks again for all your support. Bye for now.